Almighty God, the creator and ruler of heaven and earth, we beseech thee to inspire and guide all our actions so that we may always walk in the path of justice, love, and charity to one another. Help us with thy grace to do only those things that will promote the unity, peace, happiness, and prosperity of Nigeria in general and Lagos State in particular. Amen. Good afternoon, distinguished colleagues. You are all welcome to today's sitting. Let us go through the fruits and proceedings of Monday, 10th December 2018. Page 820. Honorable Adulson. Go ahead.
Thank you, sir. I just want to observe number 3 under matter of budget public importance, line 2. He said he further stated that the robbery, which robbery? Is it robbery or robberies? I want to observe that. And down on 4, Awori, Awori, not Awori, Awori, Awori. Where is it missing here? Same thing in the next line.
The second sentence is continuation of the first sentence. Attention of the House to the increasing rates of armed robbery on Lagos Road. It further stated that the robbery is as a result of 822.
Mr. Speaker.
Yeah, Honorable Council.
Sorry, sir. On the same number 3, I would rather suggest, if Mr. Speaker permits, that the statement should read, "It further stated that the incessant robberies is as a result of the gridlock occasioned by the refusal of articulated vehicles." It will sound better that way. Incessant robberies. As a result.
Honorable Abiru.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. Good afternoon, sir. Well, also on that item 3, sir, the same line 2, where we have incessant gridlock, well, I think the word traffic there will better describe the subject of discourse, traffic gridlock, rather than just leaving it as incessant gridlock. Thank you very much, sir.
There's gridlock there already. Honorable Tunde Brimo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, with due respect, if, in accordance with my brother's suggestion, Honorable R.K. Kasum, that the robbery be changed to robberies, if we change that, that means we're going to change the is that follow the robbery to are, and not the robberies is, the robberies are. Thank you, sir.
Well, I agree with you, but the point is that the second sentence you are referring to in this paragraph is the continuation of the first sentence. And in the first sentence, the singular word robber is being used. So you cannot continue in another leg and turn it to plural, except you want to go back and adjust what we have from the first sentence to second tense throughout the paragraph. H22. Honorable Abiru.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Sorry to draw you back. Also on that same paragraph 3, I think
Paragraph what?
3, matter of urgent public importance.
Yeah.
The last line there, sir.
Mm.
I think we need to end that statement with to. He said, he added that motorists now resort to plying inner roads, adjoining streets in the axis where crime has also extended to. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I have examined the votes and proceedings of Monday, 10th December 2018, and I provide a grant. Any message from the governor?
Right, Honorable Speaker, distinguished honorable members, there is no message from the governor.
Any other announcements?
Mr. Speaker, sir, there is no announcements.
There is an announcement. There will be Ijira and commissioning of our mosques, and at the same time taking that opportunity to hold prayer session for the birthday of the Mr. President on Friday, this coming Friday. So the forms, the IV and other necessary source of information will be distributed later, but just to take advantage of this plenary session to inform all of us. Thank you. Sorry, Mr. Clark. Petitions,
None, Mr. Speaker, sir.
matter of urgent public importance, none. Personal explanations, none. Reports, none. Well, before business of the day, I think we need to take a very urgent step as it has to do with traffic issue in Lagos State today. Everybody has been raising concern in respect of the traffic jam almost everywhere in Lagos State. I think it is our responsibility and duty to ensure free flow of traffic, coupled with the fact that one of the reasons behind establishment of LASMA was to ensure, free flow of traffic. With what we are witnessing today, I think we need to call on LASMA to do more beyond and above what they have been doing. And the need for us to call on His Excellency, the Governor of the state, Mr. Kimi Ambode, to direct the head of the agency immediately to ensure very active efforts that will free the lockdown on our road and ensure that all the zebras, they have formation called zebras all around the state, that they should be up and doing, and all their personnel on the road must put stop to actions of sitting, folding arms, and engaging in unnecessary discussion along the road while the intersections is blocked with unruly actions of the drivers and motorcycle operators. So I think it's very important if our people shows concern when it comes to traffic jam. It is also our own responsibility as well to make sure we find lasting solution. And it's not just by mere directive. They must be seen doing something. And any of the officers that fail to perform according to expectations should also be, treated in such manner. I think this is what we've been receiving from the people, and I'm sure Chairman has Committee on Transportation, is it? Okay. So I'm sure we need to take a very adequate steps. So Mr. Clark, well, distinguished colleagues, I don't know if one or two people would like to say something. Honorable Bureau.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I also want to collaborate what you have said, and this is actually of great concern. But as a rider to what Mr. Speaker has said, I also think we, on the other hand, too, need to talk to ourselves. The vehicles on the road are not all owned by government. So,
Are not what?
all owned by government. So for people too, I think we need to talk to ourselves, because sometimes some of these vehicles are not very roadworthy. And the period with which we are, and this is the ember period, obviously there are more activities going on here in Lagos. Now, for some of the services we also have on the expressway too, because somebody just told me again that we should be prepared for another heavy traffic tomorrow, because there are 3 different churches holding service on that expressway. And of course, when such situations arise, we should all know that everybody has a role to play. So in addition to what Mr. Speaker has said, I also want to appeal to negotiants to, one, take proper care of their vehicles. Also, they should also adhere strictly to the rules of traffic in Lagos State. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Honorable. BC Yusuf.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this very important matter that you raised. Highly very important, because today the man-hour loss on the road is more than even the construction, the money that we are used to construct the road. The economy of the state is coming down because people could not get to their place of work at the right time. Mr. Speaker, yes, the last month, they have a very significant role to play to make sure that traffic flow at its normal. But Mr. Speaker, we need also to appeal to the state government to give back the power to LASMA. In the case that LASMA could not arrest, not only that, LASMA have been subjected to maltreatment. Seriously. They are their fathers, their mothers, their brothers and sisters. Yes, if you see the way they kill them, is inhuman. Mr. Speaker, what happened about 3 weeks ago is eyewitness to what I'm saying, where a last man stopped a motorist and allowed the
last
other
man
alternate.
shot the motorist.
He stopped the motor descending right away from Alagba.
Okay, stop.
Yes,
Okay.
he stopped them and allowed the one coming from Alaguntan to flow. At that moment, just within 2 minutes, he allowed the vehicle to move again. And a police officer moved to the last man and shot him at a close range. This is not the first time that this thing will occur. So many killings have been done on the last man. So the state government should give last man the proper power. That's why you are very correct. Yes, you give somebody responsibility, you must back it with also obligation. I mean, you give somebody obligation, you have to back it with their responsibility. Last man has to be given a very serious power, as is happening in other world. So that's my submission, sir. Last man has been subjected to a serious humiliation.
Okay. Honorable Tony Brimo.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for your very public-spirited observations, sir. Mr. Speaker, this issue of traffic congestion on our roads is a matter of very grave concern because it's beginning to scare people away from our darling Lagos. People are beginning to say, when you think of Lagos, think of the traffic before you make any venture or any journey to Lagos. So it's beginning to scare people away. And Mr. Speaker, I want us to, much as I agree, sir, that you said you provide your opinion in view of the exigency and the urgency that surrounds the situation. I want to suggest, if possible, if you can invite the head of LASMA to maybe even to interface with the committee to let us know what exactly is the problem, where the shoe pinches, what is the problem. I want to think, if they are short staff, they have employed about another 1,000 recently, so we had. We don't know what is really going on. Maybe we'll have, maybe the unfortunate events which my great brother alluded to, maybe it's giving a psychological problem, and we don't know what exactly is the problem. So we need to actually find out if there's anything the house can do for them. On the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, I observed that because of the repairs going on that road, once there's a breakdown of one vehicle, the whole place is hopelessly congested. Maybe we need to cooperate with the trace or other agencies in Ogun State. Maybe there's a need for interstate agencies to collaborate, or we need to give them equipment from Lagos State to Ogun State to see that we end the traffic situation on that road. But we have to interface with the last man, sir. Thank you very much.
Sir Tonji.
Thank you very much, sir, for this observation of the right honorable speaker. I agree absolutely with the part that LASMA is not doing enough, even though they are having challenges. I think, as suggested by Honorable Brimo, we can actually invite them, or the committee can meet them to find out what are the challenges they're having. But we also observe that there is so much lawlessness on the part of the motorists themselves. People don't want to follow the rules. People want to face oncoming vehicles. I mean, it's not fair enough. We have to be law-abiding on the roads. So that is one area that we also, as pedestrians, as motorists, we are guilty. But there is one solution, which is technical, that will give us a long-term solution, which is what we call in engineering at grade separation. For instance, a vehicle, somebody who is going from Ikeja, okay, sorry, thank you. Somebody who's going from Ikeja Secretariat here is going to Aigemoto Road. He does not need to pass through Ikeja bus stop. There is a way we can provide, bridges that will take them across to that place. So I don't think we involve a lot of money. So we have to start looking into those areas to assist us in Lagos. So that we also need great separations too at some particular locations to lessen the burden that we are having on the roads. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good afternoon, my colleague. We can attribute the traffic congestion that we are witnessing in Lagos roads today to the road construction as well as bridges that we are building all around Lagos. We are all living witness to what is happening at Agege, and we can see what is happening at Aja as well as other parts of Lagos State. These are part of one of the reasons that we are having traffic gridlock. We can also attribute it to Yuletide period that we are in now. We are aware that this Christmas period and people are moving from one place to another, and this is causing traffic gridlock. Thirdly, we can talk about the lackadaisical attitude of the government towards the welfare of last mile officials. Before now, we know that last mile officials, they go on overseas trainings, and there are some of one or two things that they usually enjoy that they are no more enjoying now. Then we can conclude that there is a public harassment as well as killing of last mile officials. These have been going on for months, and we don't know. So let me conclude, sir.
Honorable, can you please just put up your eyes? Are they owing last month's salaries? We just have to be careful about what we say. Are they depriving them their welfare? For the fact that they are not going to overseas training, does it mean last month has been deprived of their welfare? If construction is going on around the Lagos State, is it not to the advantage of Lagos State? Must we, because of construction going on, that we must encourage, abuse of traffic laws? We need to be careful of what we say. Fine, we have to call on last month to go back to the roads. We are not talking about going back there to arrest people, just to ensure free flow of traffic and ensure compliance of, traffic laws. That is what we need to say. Unfortunately, somebody was killed. It was unfortunate, and we also recognize the fact that he was serving the state when it happened, and we've not been sitting for some time on and off, and we need to do something about it. I agree with that observation raised by Honorable BC Yusuf. We urge the House to write a letter to the family of the deceased and the committee of the House to also pay condolence visits. This is to assure others that we are solidly behind them, and we appreciate the service they are rendering for the state, and we are not in support of violation of their rights, abuse of the personnel on the road, or of any attack. Unfortunately, the man that, the police officer in question was also probably killed on the spot from the information we read, or died later out of the attack, that happened. So we need to be very careful about what we say. We recognize the efforts of the last man personnel. What we are saying today is that we have to do something. We have to do something. If something is wrong, we must rise up to it to correct it. It's not by just keeping quiet or looking for reasons why this thing is happening alone, but we must provide solution. And I think we are talking about finding lasting solution. Most especially, we recognize the fact that this Yuletide period, a lot of people are coming into Lagos. A lot of people are trying to make ends meet. But we must also ensure that for the fact that a lot of people are coming in, we must ensure that a lot are not also disturbed because a lot are coming in. So, Mr. Clark, I think that we need to do letter to the last man. We call on His Excellency to direct the last man, not even only the last man, even the VIO. We are calling on them not to go to the road and start extorting people or making arrests, but to ensure free flow of traffic, and at the same time to ensure that motorists also comply with the traffic laws. Do a letter to the family of the deceased of the last man personnel, and we urge the committee of the House to also pay condolence visits, just to assure the rest of them that the state recognize the service they are rendering, and we also appreciate all they are doing. But at the same time, we sympathize with LASMA officials for losing um, one of their personnel. So this is very essential. Honorable Agumbiade.
I thought I was going to be allowed before, but since you have made some submission, I don't think I can comment again.
Take that again.
I said, since you have made submission on the matter, I don't think I can reopen it.
No, you can bring your idea if you are
Thank
willing
you,
to
sir.
say something.
Thank you, Right Honorable Sir. Sir, I think there is a missing link that I think we should fill, and it has to do with the LASMA official that was killed by a member of the Nigerian police. Mr. Speaker, the officer that was killed on duty and by a policeman. Notwithstanding that the policeman that killed the LASMA man was subsequently moved and died, the fact remains that at the time the act was committed against a LASMA man, both of them were actually officers of LASMA and Nigerian police. Mr. Speaker, I think it is not out of place for us as a house under whose purview the LASMA law was created and upon which the LASMA man was employed, to demand that the Nigerian police pay a compensation to the family of that last man that was attacked while doing his duty. Mr. Speaker, you have directed very well that a letter be written and that members of this House, particularly the chairman, House Committee on Transport, should pay condolence visits. I think it will also be proper, Mr. Speaker, to add more color if that letter of condolence is handed over to the family by the chairman House Committee on Transportation, at least to show solidarity. But also, a man that kills another is good, Mr. Speaker. We have to commend Nigerian police that upon the death of that officer, for the wrong thing he has done, the Nigerian police also dismiss him posthumously. Fine. But that cannot do any good to the children and the wife of the last man that died. So, Mr. Speaker, if it's not out of place, I just want to add that we should demand on behalf of the last man family, the family of the last man, that the Lagos State Police Command should go further than the posthumous dismissal of the police officer that committed that and pay compensation to the family of. It will be very good than the family now taking Nigerian police to court eventually. So I think we should be able to do that, Mr. Speaker. That's just my reason. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Majority Leader. I also agree with you with the last leg of your submission. But we should understand the fact that the Lagos State Command, Police Command, is not probably in charge of the financial activities of the police. The Nigerian police is somehow centralized. Mere appeal would not really make much impact. So I would rather say we should ask LASMA to take it up on its own legally against Nigerian police, so the results can be achieved at the end of the day. Calling on Nigerian Police Command, Lagos State Chapter, I don't think it will yield any fruitful outcome at the end of the day. But we may direct LASMA as an organization to initiate, if possible, a legal action against Nigerian police for the family of the deceased to be compensated.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I actually discussed this matter with the Director of Public Prosecutions on the day it occurred, and she assured me that justice will be done. One of the points I raised with her was that under the new Administration of Criminal Justice law, the deceased is entitled to monetary compensation, not just, so even if the police officer died from the government, from the police. Okay. So the government of Lagos State, the DPP of Lagos State can take out that quasi-criminal summons against the police and obtain that money on behalf of the man that died, sir. So we should call on the Commissioner for Justice and Attorney General
We
to
should call-
ensure, on the Commissioner for Justice and Attorney General to ensure that adequate financial compensation is made to the man that died, sir.
Thank you very much. Now, Mr. Clark, I hope you get all we have said. Those to be called upon. To start with, we call on the Governor of Lagos State, His Excellency Mr. Akinwumi Ambode, to direct LASMA and VIO to ensure free flow of traffic in all our roads in Lagos State. Secondly, to call on Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice to initiate process of compensation for the family of the LASMA official who was killed on duty by a police officer. Is that carried? Yeah, thank you. So, all in favor say ayes. Those against nay, the ayes have it. Laying of reports, Honorable Tunde Brimo.
Good afternoon, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues. Tunde Brahman Koshofetu, Chairman, House Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights, Public Petition, and LASEC. I'm here this afternoon to lay a report of the committee on a bill for a law to provide for the registration of domestic service providers in Lagos State and for other connected purposes. I so lay.
Majority Leader.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Up next on the other paper is House of Assembly Bill number 64. Mr. Speaker, supported by myself, Honorable Jima, Honorable Kazim Are, Honorable Giwa Eso, Honorable Ogunyemi M.O., Honorable Engineer Yishao GOR, Honorable Lua O.F., Honorable Brahmo T., Honorable Sholaja Saka. Mr. Speaker, the bill is in respect of Lagos State Empowerment Trust Fund Amendment Bill 2018. May I humbly move, with your permission, that this bill be read for the first time. I so move.
Honorable Lulade.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to second the motion as properly moved.
All in favor say ayes. Those against no, the ayes have it. Mr. Clark.
Right, Honorable Speaker, distinguished honorable members, with your kind permission, I'll read for the first time Lagos State Employment Trust Fund Amendment Bill 2018. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, Majority Leader.
Right, Honorable Speaker. Next and final on the other paper for today is presentation of report in respect of House of Assembly Bill number 20, Lagos State Local Government Service Commission Bill 2016. Mr. Speaker, listed today for the second allotted day. May I humbly move, Mr. Speaker, that to take this report, that this House resolve to Committee of the Whole for the report to be presented by Honorable Kazim Are Ibejuleki II, being the chairman of the 5-man ad hoc committee in respect of the bill. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Naim.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise second the motion as moved.
All in favor say ayes. Those against no, the ayes have it. Honorable Rai.
Good afternoon, Mr. Speaker, fellow colleagues. Report of the 5-man ad hoc committee on a bill for a law to repeal and reenact the Lagos State Local Government Service Commission law, second allotted day. After due deliberations on the said report on Monday, 29 October 2018, the House resolved that certain amendments be made to the recommendations proposed by the committee. The committee does amend its recommendation in line with the directive and suggestions of the committee of the whole as follows. Further recommendations. Section 3.1, composition and appointment of members of the commission. There shall be for the commission A chairman who shall be a competent and qualified person, and B, 4 other members. Section 5, tenure of office. The members of the commission shall hold office on a full-time basis for a period of 5 years and may be eligible for reappointment for another 5 years only. Section 6, cessation of office. 1, a member shall cease to hold office if a member A, voluntarily resign the membership of the commission. B, by means of infirmity of mind or body became incapable of discharging the duties of the office. C, has been convicted of an offense which involved disorderly, and D, has been involved in any act considered to be inimical to the interests of the state. Section 10, independence of the commission. In exercising its power to make appointment or disciplinary control over persons, the commission shall not subject to the direction and control of any authority or person. Section 21, secretary to the Local Government Service Commission. 1, the permanent secretary appointed to the Local Government Commission shall be the secretary to the commission. Duty of the secretary. 2, the secretary shall be the accounting officer of the commission. B, the convener of meetings whenever directed by the chairman or demanded by a simple majority of the member of the commission. And C, subject to the general direction of the commission responsible for the day-to-day administration of the commission, the keeping of books and proper records of proceeding of the commission. Conclusion. The committee expressed its gratitude to Mr. Speaker and member for the opportunity given to carry out the assignment. In the same vein, appreciation goes to Mr. Clerk of the House and the Secretariat for their support in ensuring the timely completion of the report. Thank you. Signed, Honorable Kazim R. Bejileki to Chairman Pipe Ad hoc Committee.
Honorable Tunde Bravo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. May I move that the report of the committee be adopted for debate?
Honorable Noye.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise second the motion as moved.
All in favor say aye. Those against, no. The ayes have it. Honorable Tunde Bravo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I commend the committee for that brilliant report as beautifully rendered by the chairman. Mr. Speaker, I'm worried it has no number, but it says independence of the commission. It's on the first page, independence of the commission. It reads, in exercising its power to make appointments or disciplinary control over persons, the commission shall not be subject to the direction and control of any authority or person. So, Speaker, this provision, there's a similar one in the Constitution that is given to the judiciary and Civil Service Commission and one other commission. Mr. Speaker, this issue is already causing ripples between my own committee and the judiciary of Lagos State. Because if the commission is given this kind of power and it believes that no authority or person can interfere even when the activities of the commission are draconian and are contrary to the constitutional provisions of the federal Nigeria. Because if Section 202 of the Constitution gives that power to the judiciary, the same Constitution in Section 128 and 129 gives power to the House of Assembly to investigate any matter under the purview of its own laws. So, precluding the House of Assembly, for example, because this now is a state law, and can it now preclude the constitutional powers given by the Constitution to the House of Assembly?
Honorable Tunde Ibrahim, I don't know what you are afraid of.
That's what I'm afraid of.
Somebody that creates something can also take life out of it. So if you have established something with the law of the house, so where will such a creation get its power from and say no to?
No, to a constitutionally given
What they
power.
are trying to say, I don't know. I think it has to do with the functions of the commission in the process of appointing, training, and all. So it has nothing to do with, recognized institution calling, the agency to order in the process of their duties. But if we are not comfortable with the provision of this section, then we can take it off or redraft it in such manner that we erase our fear.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I submit that it should be rewarded, sir.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I want to commend the chairman and members of the committee for doing what we expect them to do and returning in good time. However, Mr. Speaker, I am not too comfortable, Mr. Speaker, with the position that has recouched, with the expression that recouched the position of the chairman of the committee. Mr. Speaker, as it is stated here, if that is the way it will be in the law, it will be so vague and inconsistent with the provisions, with the way we have drafted our law so far. Mr. Chairman, it says a chairman who shall be competent and qualified person. Qualified as what? What is the qualification? For somebody to be qualified, there must be set rules which you expect the person to meet, and having met it, the person is qualified. So, Mr. Speaker, I think what the committee did the other time, what we quarrel with, Mr. Speaker, is to say the person should be a public administrator. But we can remove the word public administrator and still be comfortable with the fact that the chairman must be a person with cognate experience in local government and community development matters. We might remove human resources if we like, human resources if we like, but whoever must be the chairman of the Civil Service Commission, of the Local Government Service Commission must know about local government affairs and to be able, because it's a kind of professional thing. So, Mr. Speaker, I think we can still remove the public administrator, not to tag ourselves. Anybody from the House of Assembly, possibly, who was chairman, House Committee on Local Government and the rest, and having done that for 4 years, and who is no more in the House of Assembly, can be appointed. Anybody from other area who have been a civil servant, a local government officer. So I'm saying, Mr. Speaker, that the way it is stated here is too vague and will not be consistent with the way we draft our law, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
The chairman of the committee, from what Honorable Abiru.
I was only just going to buttress the point of the majority leader, because even the Civil Service Commission is a creation of the Constitution, and even here it actually qualified such a person to be somebody of unquestionable integrity and of good political knowledge. So I think there's importance for the
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, your response.
Yeah, well, the observation of the majority leader is good. But the reason why we leave it open like this is that this is a public office, and we believe, and it's it's an appointment. Anybody that graduate or have experience is qualified to hold the office. That's the reason why we leave it open.
In view of what they have said, just amend in accordance to the amendment suggestion made by the members.
Well, the majority carry the vote, sir. If, as amended, sir.
Yeah. Who is adopting the Honorable Bureau?
Okay, it's even parliamentary now. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I wish to move that the recommendation of the committee as amended should be adopted as a resolution of the House. I so move.
Honorable Castle.
I second the motion.
All in favor say aye. Those against nay, the ayes have it. Majority Leader.
Right, Honorable Speaker, may I move with your permission that the House reverts to plenary? I so move.
Honorable Dutton.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I support the motion as moved.
All in favor say aye. Those against nay, the ayes have it.
Right, Honorable Speaker, at the Committee of the Whole, the House took the presentation of the five-man ad hoc committee set up in respect of Lagos State Local Government Service Commission Bill. The report was delivered by Honorable Kazim R.I. Ibejulepi II as the chairman of the ad hoc committee. Mr. Speaker, the report was as a result of earlier deliberation in respect of the bill being the second allotted day. And the few corrections made earlier were corrected and reflected in the report of the committee. A minor amendment was made in respect of the report, and the report was subsequently adopted as a resolution of the House, subject to that amendment. Mr. Speaker, I wish to reckon that that's what happened at the Committee of the Whole. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Olulade.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to affirm that that's the true recap of what happened at the Committee of the Whole.
Honorable Castle.
I rise to second the affirmation.
All in favor say aye. Those against nay, the ayes have it. Majority Leader.
Right, Honorable Speaker, distinguished colleagues, we have come to the end of the proceeding for today. And since Christmas is approaching and New Year is approaching, I have the approval of Mr. Speaker to move that this House adjourns till Monday, 7th day of January 2019 at 12 o'clock. I so move.
Honorable Naim.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I rise second the motion as moved.
All in favor say aye. Those against nay, the ayes have it. There will be a short meeting immediately after the sitting. This House stands adjourned is Monday, 7th January 2019 at 12 noon prompt. I rise.